imperial strain, and then you add yeast extract malt glucose to feed the bacteria, and then you add, or let's call it ETBR, a non-radioactive marker used to stain DNA, commonly used in molecular biology labs to detect nucleic acid. So that's a toxic chemical that they put into the mixture, and then they have to use another one. It's called EMS, a commonly used chemical mutagen. That means it causes birth defects, used in experimental genetics. This is also put into the mix with the bacteria, and then they use ultraviolet radiation to stimulate the growth of the bacteria, and then they have a whole lot of other possible ingredients that you can see here. And all these ingredients result in the production of ivermectins, which they call industrial-derived mutants. But this product is a, quote, deadly insecticide, a ivermectin-based, or avermectin, abamectin, they're all the same family of chemicals as cockroach bait and then ant killer, etc. And then you look at, and then people will say, yeah, but ivermectin that's used for people is much more purified and clean and doesn't have all these other nasty chemicals in it. So here's the spec sheet for a veterinary product, which they say is toxic to the central nervous system. In particular, it's a class 1 danger. Then they found this toxic chemical which kills just about everything and is responsible for neurological problems and fertility problems, and they thought this would be good for the developing world and the freedom people. That's probably an important part of this story. So if we don't get you with the vaccine and we want neurological problems and fertility problems of the people who are smart enough to not take the vaccine, we have another pharmaceutical product which is just the thing for this imaginary disease called COVID. And so that's where they came up with the ivermectin story. And so it became the other side of the debate and sold to you by the typical freedom people. And that's how we got to where we are today.
September 2025. Now, a while back, I did kind of an unplanned mini-series on the topic of ivermectin and even hydrochloroquine. It's bastardized saying that, but whatever. There's some video shorts as well as some videos about this topic. Now, this topic of ivermectin has come up again, but now we're having even more information which supports everything that I've been saying, not only in those videos, but since it came out during the events that began in 2020. And I've showed, for example, how one particular scientist or doctor who worked for one of these manufacturers of the so-called cure of the alleged event that took place or began in 2020 and ended up leaving, trying to expose that, and now talking about ivermectin and everything else and how dangerous that is and so forth. And apparently when you look at the history, the origins of this so-called wonder drug, which apparently can grow limbs back, I'm being sarcastic, of course, it's really disturbing, and people don't want to listen to even anything that I've had to say or others about this topic. They're still taking this drug. And the origins of this drug, why it's so disturbing, because not only where did they find it in a golf course that's really toxic anyway with all the chemicals and stuff going on, but the extracting the ivermectin drug from bacteria found in the ground and then adding other chemicals to it to create this wonder drug. And what people don't know is that the foundation of those little bug containers that kill cockroaches and everything else contains all the compounds of ivermectin. It's an insect killer. And they're trying to say, apparently, well, what's being used, for example, with people and animals, it's much safer, it doesn't have all this other toxic stuff. But apparently when you break down what's in it and the amounts, is still harmful and deadly. And there are people who have died from using it. And then people say, oh, but they didn't use it properly. Yes, they used too much of it. The point is, you're introducing poisonous toxins into your body. But truther and freedom types, they know better. They didn't get fooled by the alleged cure for whatever alleged thing that had an outbreak there in 2020. But, they drink the Kool-Aid with this ivermectin and hydrochloroquine stuff and swear by it. And there's even a cult-like following, which I highlighted in one of my videos, and their so-called messiah, Danny, who passed away from using it, no one knew for a whole year. That's how crazy this is. And people are hanging on to these wonder drugs, swearing by it, and destroying themselves. And I said, when these two particular drugs came out, people were talking about it years ago, I said, yeah, they didn't get you with this, they were going to get you with that. And this ivermectin drug, a multi-billion-dollar industry, thanks to truthers and freedom types who know the truth. People deserve what they get. They really do. And it's a shame how stupid people are. And that's really what I wanted to say. Just bring some more awareness and what's come out now, the origins of ivermectin and even hydrochloroquine. Want to accept it or not, that's on you. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
If you want to know whether or not you have been lied to, if you can't see anything wrong with the side you agree with, and you can't see anything right with the side that you disagree with, you have been manipulated. There's so many psyops that are happening all the time. Some of them, when you say psyops, a really, really good infomercial is a psyop.
Right.
So, but what we're talking about is the large scale.
Right.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.